Shalom. Let's start off by giving our praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, great millstone, citations to the Old Filet that's pushing this truth across four corners of the earth, our faith, in all faith, truth, and sincerity. I'm gonna want to buy back again now sitting. Just want to go into this article I found. It's about the modern age. And it says, are we heading toward World War III? And it says regional conflicts have expanded into global ones before. So I'm going to read some of this. I'm not going to read all of this. But it says the Second World War, the Second World War was the most destructive conflict in human history. When it was over, some 60 million people were dead. It featured the mass bombing of cities and civilians, the torture and murder of prisoners of war, starvation, genocide, and the use of automatic weapons. The peace that ended the war was imperfect. Joseph Stalin's Soviet Union, which helped to start the European phase of the war, was one of the victors, and its totalitarian realm expanded. China's civil war continued, resulting in Mao Zedong communist conquest of the mainland. World War II gave birth to the nuclear age and the Cold War. With all of its smaller wars and crises, Winston Churchill, who led Great Britain to victory in the war, wrote afterward that there never was a war more easy to stop than that which has just wrecked what was left of the world from the previous struggle. He called it World War II, the unnecessary war. So I'm going to go from there. Going down. It said the events that transformed regional wars into Second World War, according to Hansen, were Germany's invasion of the Soviet Union, Japan's attack on Pacific territories of the United States and Britain, and Germany's and Italy's declaration of war against the United States. Only these unforeseen developments in the single year of 1941, he writes, recalibrated prior region conflicts in Europe and Asia into a continuous and now interconnected global war that drew three new powerful participants: Japan, the Soviet Union, and the United States, into two formidable alliances. Today, there are two regional wars in Ukraine and the Middle East, and rising tensions in the Western Pacific that could potentially expand into catastrophic global conflict like World War II. The war in Ukraine has been going on for 4 years. There is no end in sight. NATO's involvement on the side of Ukraine, coupled with China and North Korea's assistance to Russia, means that the longer that war continues, the greater it is. The greater is the possibility that it expands. The U.S.-Israel war against Iran has already expanded to Libya, other Gulf states, and most importantly, the Strait of Hormuz, through which 20% of the world's oil, including much of Europe's and most of China's imported oil, transits the U.S. blockade of the straits means that a naval clash between the United States and China is possible, which could also further heighten tensions in the Western Pacific. A war in the Western Pacific over Taiwan could draw in Japan, the Philippines, and Russia. It was in Hansen's words, the unforeseen and unexpected developments arising out of regional wars that transformed those wars into catastrophic Second World War. If I'm saying the word right, excuse me. Hopefully I'm saying it right. If I'm not, Forgive me on that. That could happen in the Ukraine and the Middle East if diplomacy fails to end those current conflicts. The United States, China, Russia, Israel, and North Korea have nuclear weapons. A global war that involves some or all those powers could therefore be even more destructive than World War II. Let us hope that Hansen or the equal insight historian doesn't one day have to write a book titled the Third World Wars, which he might not have to write. He ain't gonna have to write that book because the Third World War, which we're gonna head into that. It's scripture. It's gonna happen. World War III is gonna, it's gonna be full. It's gonna be full go. It's gonna be full blow go. I mean, full go, full blown go. Once I say United States, they hit Iran again. They strike Iran again. And so forth. It's gonna lead to like I say, China, Russia gonna have to get involved eventually. If the United States do something else, but it's gonna lead to World War III. So we in that point in time, ain't no turning back. So World War III will happen. But I'm gonna go from there and get some scriptures to back this up. This is on Revelation 11:14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. So the second woe, which I was reading, about World War. That's World War. The second woe right here in the scriptures in Revelation 11:14 is talking about World War II, which I was just reading about, right? And behold, the third woe cometh quickly. That's talking about the World War III. The third woe is talking about World War III. So it's coming quickly. So like we in that point in time of it being full. It's gonna be full blown. Well, the other countries are gonna get involved. Iran's allies. Say China, Russia, North Korea. And then like I say, the U.S. allies, they really don't want to get involved with the United States, in Israel's mess, what they got going on. They're trying to avoid it, so they don't want to have to, to get to a point where it turns to a full blown, all out World War III, So, but it's gonna happen, the scriptures, the prophecies of the Bible, the word of the Lord, is gonna come true. It's gonna happen, man. We right there, we right there for all, for World War III to be fully just full blown, But I'll go from there. See, okay, yeah. So I'll go to next chapter, Isaiah 9:5. For every battle of the warrior is with confusing noise, and garments rolled in blood, but this shall be with burning and fuel fire. So back in the ancient times and wars, you had there was a like ground war, face to face, swords and javelins and stuff like that. Back in the ancient times, and ground on the ground war, boots on the ground type war. But this time around, it ain't gonna be no long drawn out campaign or war either. This World War III is gonna be basically all out nuclear war. It's not gonna be no long drawn out campaign. It's gonna be missiles flying here, there, here, there. So it's that's what that was gonna come to. So like I say, with World War III, it's fast approaching. It's coming. It's gonna be full blown. So right now you seen with the situation in Iran, Israel, but it's gonna get to a point where, like I say, Russia and China, and I say Iran allies, which is Russia, China, North Korea, And then, you know what I'm saying, United States allies, you know, they're going to get pulled into it. Then that's going to be a full-blown World War III. You know, so, you know, we in that time, you know. So, yeah, we are going to be, World War III will happen. You know, there was a question on that article. World War III will happen, you know. According to the Bible, the scripture, the prophecies, and the apostles and the elders of Brother Great Millstone been teaching for years, you know, prophesying years about, you know, the downfall and the destruction of displaced America, Babylon the Great, you know, World War III and so forth, you know. But it's going to happen, you know. So with that, I hope this was edifying. I didn't want to make this too long. So again, I'd like to give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Kakadash, to the apostles, elders, to the Sisakin brothers, to the few Akwaf sisters that do listen, keep the faith, and Yahushua keep fighting that say Shalom.